The T-10 heavy tank entered service with the Soviet Army at a time when heavy tanks were already becoming a thing of the past. Armies around the world, the Soviet Union included, were shifting toward a new ideal: a single, universal tank design that combined speed, protection, efficiency, and cost-effectiveness. Yet it was during this very transition, as the era of heavy tanks was drawing to a close, that the T-10 entered mass production and went on to serve for decades. Its concept had been shaped by Soviet engineers back in World War II. In the USSR, what defined a heavy tank wasn't just its weight and armor, but above all, its gun. Specifically, the 122mm A-19 field gun, which designer Yosef Kotin proposed mounting on a mobile, well-armored chassis. This idea gave rise to the IS-2, equipped with the now legendary D-25T cannon, a weapon that was the bane of German tanks, fortifications, and infantry alike. The D-25T became a signature feature of all Soviet heavy tanks, both mass-produced and experimental. Even with the IS-2, its creators were already striving for a balance of all key characteristics. That pursuit continued in its successors. The IS-3 added only 2 extra tons of weight, but became far tougher thanks to its distinctive pike nose armor layout. Later designs, such as the IS-4 with its near-impenetrable all-around protection, and the fast but massive IS-7 proved too heavy, exceeding 60 tons and making logistics impractical. Engineers therefore returned to a more balanced project under the name IS-5, less ambitious but far more feasible for real-life use. Drawing on the earlier developments, the production version, now designated T-10, retained the pike nose, sloped, boat-shaped hull sides, and a 700-horsepower engine that gave it excellent mobility. The gun loading system was semi-manual, and the main gun was also carried over from its predecessors, the tried-and-true D-25. Still, the T-10 wasn't without innovation. It received a gun stabilizer and improved armor protection, all while keeping it within strict weight limits. The result was a tank weighing exactly 50 tons, impressively light for its class. The engineers successfully adapted the old-fashioned concept of a breakthrough heavy tank to the realities of the 1950s. In terms of power-to-weight ratio and overall performance, the T-10 came close to what would soon be known as main battle tanks. Later variants, particularly the T-10M, pushed the design even further with a new gun featuring dual-plane stabilization, modern ammunition types including heat and sub-caliber shells, night vision systems, and a more powerful engine. Yet, despite these upgrades, the concept itself was becoming obsolete. By the late 1960s, the tank was gradually withdrawn from frontline units and reassigned to training or reserve roles, as well as repair depots. Nevertheless, the T-10 remained in service for decades, with the final vehicles decommissioned only after the collapse of the USSR. It was also one of the few Soviet tanks never exported to other socialist countries, a distinctly homegrown design, and an important milestone on the road to the era of MBTs. Though the original production T-10s have long since been scrapped, many tanks of the series survive today in museums and as memorial monuments. And in War Thunder, you can try the last Soviet heavy tank out yourself. The T-10M variant sits right at the beginning of Rank 6 of the Soviet tech tree, alongside the T-55. It embodies the best qualities of the USSR's heavy tank line: speed, armor, and devastating firepower. Despite being classified as a heavy tank, one of the T-10's standout features is its mobility, which rivals that of both Western and Soviet MBTs. The Leopard and AMX-30 are faster overall, particularly in reverse, but the T-10's performance is comparable to that of the T-62 and Japan's Type 74. Its turret rotation speed and acceleration are similar to the T-55, meaning players familiar with Soviet medium tanks will feel right at home. The same goes for its armor, though. The 120mm pike nose front plate offers excellent protection against solid and capped shells but it performs poorly against sub-caliber rounds and is rarely effective against heat or APF SDS rounds. Still, the T-10M's armor can't be dismissed entirely. If positioned head-on at a good angle, it can even deflect 105mm shells. In most cases, however, its armor is best suited against older tanks, SPGs, and SPAAGs. And while fighting MBTs, you should rely on quick thinking and initiative instead of just armor. The T-10 carries 4 main shell types: APC-BC, the BR-472, APDS, Heat, and HE. The first of these, available by default, should be your primary choice. It's capable of penetrating the frontal armor of most opponents. Some tanks, such as the American M60A1 and T95E1, are well protected against APC-BC projectiles, but even they have weak spots. The turret ring on the M60, for example, or the upper turret and lower glacis on the T95E1. British chieftains are best attacked through the lower front plate, while export Soviet models are vulnerable near the gun mantlet. With nearly 200 grams of explosive filler, the BR-472 APC-BC round stands out due to its impressive post-penetration damage, the highest among the available anti-tank rounds. Heat shells can easily pierce even a mouse, but often lack damage output, while APDS rounds sit somewhere between the two in terms of penetration and explosive effect. Still, with the T-10M, you need to be decisive. Reloading takes roughly 15 seconds, nearly twice as long as on most MBTs, so every shot must count. Ideally, each round should destroy or at least cripple the target. The T-10's main gun is complemented by a roof-mounted KPVT machine gun, which can shred light vehicles like the Sheridan or take down low-flying helicopters with short bursts. Against tanks, however, it's best to rely on that single decisive shot, and always plan an escape route. Keep in mind that the T-10M lacks smoke grenade launchers. It is fitted only with smoke canisters on the rear hull and an engine smoke generating system. At rank 5, there's also a rare premium variant, the T-10A. It plays similarly to the T-10M, but has a lower top speed of 42 km an hour, no sub-caliber or heat rounds, and its D25 TS gun is stabilized only vertically. The upside is that the T-10A is sitting at a lower battle rating, which lets it rely on its armor much more than the main model. The T-10 was the Soviet Union's last production heavy tank, and one of the last in the world. It emerged at the dawn of the MBT era, symbolizing the end of an age that would never return. While the T-10 never saw real combat, it remains a monument to a bygone generation of steel giants. Do you enjoy using this distinctive vehicle? Tell us in the comments down below.